ये दुख का खत्म नहीं होता पार्ट 2 में आपका स्वागत है. ऑलराइट, why are your VARC scores low? Part 2. You're most welcome here. Now, of course, we know there are multiple reasons why our VARC scores could be low. You probably know them already. Low speed, English में weakness है, vocab is weak, can't eliminate choices, things like that. But from my experience, and I have been in this field for last 2 decades, I write CAT also very frequently. I wrote CAT 23, got 99.86 in VARC. So from all my experience and experience of writing CAT also, I can tell you that there is one major factor that a lot of us ignore. अगर ये थोड़ा सा वाइब करता है तो let me know in the comment box whether it made sense or not. And I'll tell you. And the reason is that when we read RC, we try to retain everything in our head. Just let's be honest. Comment box में बताना, जब हम आरसी पढ़ते हैं तो क्या हम ये ट्राई नहीं करते कि जो पढ़ा है वो याद हो जाए? इनफैक्ट आई गेट अ लॉट ऑफ डाउट्स इन द क्लासेस, इन माई वीडियोज ऑल्सो, दैट सर पढ़ तो लेते हैं बट याद नहीं रहता. प्लीज रिमेंबर एवरीवन, इट इज रीडिंग कॉम्प्रीहेंशन. रीडिंग पढ़ो, कॉम्प्रीहेंशन अंडरस्टैंड करो. नोवेयर डज इट से पढ़ो और याद करो. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज, of course, one of the most well-known things about our education system is it is based on cramming. रट्टा मारते रहो, that's about it. और हमें वो आदत पड़ जाती है. When CAT says read the passage, comprehend it, समझो and then answer questions, हमें वो नहीं करना होता. हमें पढ़ के उसे याद करना होता है, लर्न करना होता है, फिर अपने मेमोरी के बेसिस पे क्वेश्चंस का आंसर निकालना होता है. और हम जब ऐसा करते हैं तो यू नो व्हाट हैपेंस, राइट? तो आंसर कुछ और होता है, मार्क हम कुछ और कर देते हैं. सो वेरी क्लियरली रिमेंबर, देयर इज अ पैसेज, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द पैसेज, यू हैव टू रीड, अंडरस्टैंड एंड देन इफ रिक्वायर्ड यू कैन गो बैक टू इट, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट्स गिवन टू यू. आपके सामने है, आप पढ़ लो जब जरूरत पड़े. which also means you should know how to exactly read a passage. I keep on saying that in my classes, like I have said that probably 23,500 times in my classes, videos में बोल चुका हूँ. Always focus on the main idea of the author, the claim of the author. Claims are very few and far between. The rest is generally description, examples, facts, figures, events, data, etc. You should ideally always pay attention to claims. Claims means when the author makes a positive statement. India is the greatest country in the world. Or the author asks questions. But why is it so? Or when the author gives you numbers. The first reason why India is the greatest country is this. Second reason is this. 10,558th reason is this. तो उन पे ध्यान दो थोड़ा सा. When the author says but, be careful, author is coming up with a counter argument. तो ये बिल्कुल बेसिक बातें हैं, कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. यू गाइज अंडरस्टैंड दैट, राइट? तो बस ये करना होता है, ध्यान से पढ़ लो. डोंट ट्राई टू मेमोराइज एनीथिंग, बट व्हेन यू प्रैक्टिस इट देन ओनली इट बिकम्स पार्ट ऑफ योर entire approach. For example, now you would say, sir, you have chosen a passage to support your argument. I know, because हमें इस बात का तो यकीन है नहीं, सेल्फ बिलीफ हमें चाहिए नहीं, that we can ace this exam. ये एग्जाम है, सिर्फ हम इस एग्जाम को कर सकते हैं, अच्छा परसेंटाइल ला सकते हैं. इस बात को दिमाग में घुसाना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, राइट? सो प्लीज बिलीव यू कैन डू इट एंड यू विल डू इट फॉर श्योर, राइट? Yes, I have taken an example which is slightly factual, but I could have taken any other example. कमेंट में बता देना, मैं और भी आरसीज करवा दूंगा, नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. तो मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूँ कैट 2023 से, बिकॉज अगर मैंने 17 का एग्जाम्पल लिया होता, यू वुड हैव सेड सर इट्स नॉट रेलेवेंट. अगर मैंने 22 का लिया होता, सर इट्स नॉट लेटेस्ट. तो मैंने 23 का एग्जाम्पल लिया. नाउ यू प्रॉब्ली हैव डन दिस पैसेज ऑलरेडी. मैं पैसेज नहीं करवा रहा, बट आई एम जस्ट यूजिंग द एग्जाम्पल. बी विद मी एंड इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? तो जैसे ये पैसेज है, आई होप यू कैन सी इट प्रॉपरली, राइट? मुझे शायद आपको ठीक से ना भी दिखे, बट नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. आई जस्ट यूज कपल ऑफ पार्ट्स ऑफ इट. सो इफ यू रीड दिस पैसेज, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट इज अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 500 वर्ड्स. जस्ट रीड द पैसेज एंड ट्राई टू सी, आप पॉज करके भी कर सकते हो, वेयर द ऑथर इज मेकिंग अ क्लेम एंड वेयर द ऑथर इज एक्सप्लेनिंग. ओके, सो इट्स 500 वर्ड्स. नाउ फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज, द nutmeg curse by Ghosh, which means it is probably an article, a book, or something like that by an author called Ghosh. Throws down is to the prevailing understanding of when the climate crisis started. The biggest challenge that this book throws down is to the prevailing understanding of when the climate crisis started. So now we can anticipate, we can think, okay, so this passage is about when climate crisis started, time के बारे में ये बात करने वाला है. Most of us have accepted that it started with the widespread use of coal at the beginning of da. Now, pause. Author says this book challenges the fact when this climate thing started, and then the author says people believe X. So this author would now say, but it actually happened in Y or at that time or in that century. पक्की बात, anticipate, and that makes you speed up. आप claim पे focus करो, याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Passage किस बारे में है? Let's revise. Passage is about when the climate crisis started. Ghosh probably talks about it. And then you just pay attention to the claim. And I would very quickly, because ये वीडियो बहुत शॉर्ट रखना चाहता हूँ, वैसे शॉर्ट बोल के भी काफ़ी लंबा हो जाता है, बट एनीवेज आई विल शो यू द मेन पॉइंटर्स. यू लेट मी नो इन द चैट बॉक्स लेटर कि ये ठीक ठाक था या नहीं था. So just look at the main claims. The biggest challenge this book throws down is to the prevailing understanding of when the climate crisis started. Ghosh takes this history at least 3 centuries back. So people thought it started in, let's say, 18th century, but no, Ghosh says it started in 15th century. These are the 2 points to which Ghosh returns through examples from around the world. 2 points. So which one? First is how European colonists decimated, and second, how this was an invasion not only of the humans but of the earth itself. Main points पे ध्यान दो. बीच के जो examples है, skim through them, और याद तो रखना ही नहीं है. Just focus on the main idea. आपको कुछ भी रट्टा मारने की जरूरत नहीं है, सब कुछ सामने given है. So please stop memorizing. Very important. Then you can see, are these the responses of an angry Gaia? Gaia is basically the earth, who has finally had enough. Now remember, Gaia is written with capital. Even if you do not know what it is, doesn't matter. Capital से लिखा है, नाम ही होगा किसी का, टेंशन नहीं लेना है. But this is a question. Pay attention. Question means the author will probably answer it also. तो उसे थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़ लो. By using the word curse in this title, the author makes it clear. So author का claim आ रहा है. Very important. I use the pronoun who knowingly. So author is making another claim. ध्यान से पढ़ लो. As Ghosh's text, notes and bibliography show once more, none of this is new. Claim. ये नया नहीं है, नई बात नहीं है, पहले भी बोली गई है. There are other points of view and so forth. That's it. Main idea. Probably 200 words, 150 words. तो बाकी क्या था? Description था, कहानियाँ थी. आप उनको याद मत करो. जरूरत पड़े तो वापस आ जाओ. Now you would say, but sir, questions थोड़े ना हो जाएंगे इससे. All 4 कर सकते हैं. I am not, remember, asking you to skip. I'm asking you to skim. मेन आइडिया को ध्यान से पढ़ो. जो डिटेल्स हैं थोड़ा जल्दी पढ़ लो. उनको याद बिल्कुल ही मत करो. डोंट एट ऑल फोकस ऑन रिटेनिंग इट, फोकस ऑन अंडरस्टैंडिंग इट. तो ऑथर मोटा मोटा क्या कह रहा है? लेट्स फोकस ऑन इट. सो द ऑथर सेज अमिताभ घोष's book basically challenges the idea when climate change started, climate crisis started. He takes it back 3 centuries, and then there are 2 points he talks about. Then he has other pointers also, which I can come back to if required. अब देखते हैं, एक आध क्वेश्चन हो सकता है क्या? Let's see. Now, if you have done basics here, inference, inference is basically based on the passage. We can say it is true. We have to find 3 options. All of the following can be inferred from the reviewer's discussion of Nutmeg's curse, except. पैसेज के बेसिस पे 3 बातें हम कह सकते हैं, एक नहीं कह सकते. Which one? The history of climate change is deeply intertwined, mixed with the history of colonialism. If you see the passage, it's very obvious. Contemporary dominant perception of nature and the environment was put in place by process of colonialism. If you read the passage, very obvious. Environmental preservation policy makers can learn a lot from non-European and or pre-colonial societies. Colonialism related. Now remember, even if you did not understand ABC properly, you can always eliminate. For example, look at option 4th. Academic discourses have always served the function of raising awareness about environmental preservation. अब क्या करना है? ध्यान से सुनना. This looks like not right because always makes it an extreme statement. Extreme statements require extreme corroboration. Extreme statements require extreme evidence in the passage. Did the passage talk about always serving? Academic discourses are debates, always doing something? Just go back Did I read it anywhere? Academic discourses हमेशा करते हैं. You probably would automatically say no, passage में ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं लिखा. That's about it. याद भी रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. You just need to see whether it's an extreme statement that can be probably supported by the passage or not, and that's about it. That's the correct answer. Now you would say, sir, but you have picked up one question. सारे थोड़ी ना होंगे. ठीक है, एक और कर लेते हैं. So the question says, which one of the following best explains the primary purpose of the discussion of the colonization of the Banda Islands in the Nutmeg Curse? Primary purpose for discussion of colonization. Why did the author discuss colonization of an island? उस discussion का role क्या था? Purpose क्या था? Why did the author talk about it? Right? Now, you have read the passage already. Again, you can see you don't need to go into details. Details से कोई मतलब नहीं इसका. If you do not retain the details, it's fine. You can still try to answer the question. To illustrate the role played by the cultivation of certain crops. This passage is not about crops. It's basically about the role of colonization and climate crisis. To illustrate the first instance in history. Now, the very first line you have seen talks about how this book probably says that climate crisis started 3 centuries before the date it is accepted to have started on. First instance, extreme statement. To illustrate how systemic violence against the colonized constituted the cornerstone of colonialism, which means that violence was the main characteristic of colonialism. But then if you read the passage, it's very obvious that that's not what the author is trying to talk about. Then what is the correct answer? To illustrate how colonialism represented and perpetuated the mindset that has led to climate change. Now you would say, but where was this mentioned? It is there in the main points I talked about, the main claims of the author. Let's have a look. You can clearly see it says, because Ghosh had quoted many non-European sources to inquire into the relationship between humans and the world around them, so that he can question the prevalent way of looking at Earth as an inert object to be exploited to the maximum. This is the opinion, or this is the point of view that Ghosh talks about in his book, that the colonists made us look at this Earth as something to be exploited, whereas those people who were not the colonizers, they did not look at Earth as something to be exploited. The entire passage talks about it. Author के main claim में है ये, बहुत clearly mentioned. And therefore, if you read the passage and just focus on the main ideas, you would be able to figure it out very easily. And therefore, the correct answer would be option D. Now remember, I did not read the passage line by line. I did not read the passage with you even thoroughly, but still, I just try to show you that if you just focus on the main ideas, do not try to retain anything, you can still manage questions. Now you can manage the rest of the 2 questions also, but of course that would make the video very long, तो मैं वो नहीं कर रहा. But I hope you understood the point I am making. Please remember, RC is all about reading and comprehending, not reading and retaining. याद नहीं करना है. याद करने का टाइम बहुत पहले जा चुका है. वो हमारे स्कूल या कॉलेज का पार्ट था. CAT is basically a test of your approach. It's a test of your aptitude, not of your memory. Now, of course, with CAT approximately 80 odd days left, you probably need some hand-holding in terms of better preparation. If that is the case, I suggest you please check out our booster course that we are going to launch on 5th of September. You can find more information about it on our website also, rodha.co.in. Make sure you go and visit. This complete booster course is designed to make sure that you do not get shocked by CAT. CAT का तो खैर shock ही है ये. We have tried to bring in newer questions in LRDI, Quant, VARC. You will be taught by a panel of experts. You would get video solutions also for sectionals and all. So why miss it? Check out more on our website. Thank you so much for joining me here.